Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today. We'll continue to study the 34th Psalm. So, if you will, grab your Bible and turn there. We'll be picking up in the 11th verse, Psalm 34, verse 11. As you find in your place, just a reminder or to catch you up if you haven't been with us. This is a psalm. David had gotten himself in some trouble while running from King Saul. King Saul was unhappy because of the attention that David was getting for being considered a hero for killing Goliath. And to avoid Saul, David makes his way to the city of Gath, which was the hometown of Goliath. I don't still, for the life of me, can't figure out why a man as intelligent as David would do that. But obviously he was not well received in Gath. He's killed their hero. He is arrested, taken into custody by King Achish. He pretends to be crazy. The king kicks him out of the country, and then David writes this psalm praising God for his deliverance. And so good words to know, if nothing else, that God delivers us from our own dumb mistakes. And he can protect us even from our own errors. And so we'll be picking up in verse 11 today. A little bit of a shift here. David is going to go from the first 10 verses. He's been encouraging us to fear the Lord, to worship the Lord. Now he's going to begin to encourage us to actually practice the fear of the Lord. The Bible I have open here on my computer screen, the little man-made topic above it says he exhorts to fear, to the fear of God. And so as he is doing this, he's going to assume a role that was a common practice in those days when trying to teach. The teacher would many times take the position of a father to children, and so he is originally most likely giving this address to his cohorts there in the cave, and encouraging them to fear the Lord. Many of these men they probably had their families with them, and so there probably were some children there as well who were hearing David's words. And so he's going to encourage them here to fear, and again, that word fear I think often has the wrong image for us today. It's not talking about fear like you would a rattlesnake. It's talking about fear as in respect or reverence, as you would in a proper relationship. Anymore, I don't know some of the way I see children acting out in public, but the way probably many of you that are listening to this, you feared your mother. You weren't afraid she was going to kill you or anything, but you had a reverence or respect for your parents. And so that's what he's talking about here. And so he says in verse 11, excuse me, he says, "Come, you children, hearken unto me, and I will teach you the fear of the Lord." And so he calls them to him. He calls them around him and says, "I'm going to teach you." And so we have the message, the purpose of this next section. I'm going to teach you what it means, how to respect and revere the Lord. And so he asked a question beginning in verse 12, that's pretty obvious for most people. He says, "What man is he that desireth life and loveth many days, that he may see good?" Basically, he says, he calls them together and he gets them around him, and he says, "Okay, which one of you wants to live a long time?" And I'm probably every hand in the room went up, and so they all, they agreed. He says, "I'm going to teach you. I'm going to give you the keys to living a long life, to having a good life, that he may not only a long life, notice what he says here, many days, that he may see good." And so he says, "I'm going to teach you not only how to have a long life, but how to have a long life that is good." I think all of us are aware you could have a long life that wasn't good, and so David says, "I'm going to teach you how to have a good long life." And so he sets in then and begins to tell them, and just gives them some very straightforward information. "Keep thy tongue from evil, and thy lips from speaking guile." And so the first thing David tells us, if we want to live a good life, a long life, is to guard our words, to be careful of what we say. Don't speak evil, don't lie. And I think in a lot of ways we know that speaking evil, your mouth, it can get your life shortened if you say the wrong thing to the wrong person. And so David says, if we fear God, if we revere God, we're going to be careful of our words. We're not going to, again, he says, keep it from evil. In other words, you're going to speak truth. You're not going to lie. You're not going to speak evil, profanity, bad words about others. Again, when he says keep your tongue from evil, evil is the opposite of righteous. And so he's telling us to speak good. Guile, the word guile in this verse, the word we would use today in that place is deceit. In fact, I think probably if you look, most modern translations of the Bible will have that word translated as deceit in that place. And so he's saying we speak truth. We're careful of our words. Depart from evil and do good. Seek peace and pursue it. And it gives us, I think, a powerful image there for us. He says, "Depart from evil." Get away from it. Probably. All of us can probably think of incidents in our life where we saw bad or evil going on, and we stood and watched it. May not have been in on it, but we stood and watched it. David says, "Don't even be around it. Leave it. Get away from it." Because you and I both know, you're smart enough. You know, like I do, that if you stand there long enough, you'll probably end up. Evil has a way of kind of sucking us in, and so he says, "Flee, get away from evil." And then look at that image. He doesn't just say, don't stand there and not do the evil. He says, get away from the evil. But then he says, flee the evil and do good. Get away from evil, and don't just stand and watch the evil but not be part of it. Don't just get away from the evil, but do something good in its place. Do the right thing. I think of what I've heard of people who smokers who tried to quit smoking. I've heard them talk about how hard that was, and when they quit smoking, they started eating, and so they quit smoking, but they gained a lot of weight. So they quit one thing, but they started another habit that was going to hurt them as well. And so David says to us, get away from the evil, but don't go do something else bad, or just don't do anything, but get away from the evil and do good. So he gives us, again, remember he's talking like a father to a children. And so you may look at this and think, well, this is kind of some basic stuff. Well, it is. But a lot of times it's the basics that trip us up. And then in the second half of that verse, he says, seek peace and pursue it. And so, again, when we have a fear for the Lord and we have a respect for the Lord, then that's going to affect how our relationship with other people. That we're going to seek peace. It makes us, the Bible uses the word peacemakers. And we know there's a word out there, troublemaker, but the Bible uses the word peacemaker. We are to make peace. The world should be our world anyway. Our little piece of the world should be more peaceful because we are part of it. I think all of us can probably relate and identify. I know people. It seems like that when they come into a room, come into the conversation, come into the group, that it seems like shortly thereafter there's tension, there's argument. That's not who the Christian is to be. We are to be peacemakers, he says, to seek peace and pursue it. Again, I think it's important, let me just throw this in, that we don't stir up unnecessary problems. That doesn't mean we don't stand up for what is right. Sometimes we may need to cause trouble. We may need to stand up for what is right. We may need to do those things. But overall, we pursue peace. And so David in these first couple verses has begun introducing us to the idea of what it means to fear the Lord. Again, it's not real complicated. I mean, if you think about what we've just talked about, watch your mouth, do good, seek peace. Look over you, be careful of your words, be careful of your conduct, be careful of the way you treat others. And that's David's idea of fearing the Lord, and that's David's idea of how to live a long, good life. And furthermore, if you take that and you begin to read in the New Testament, if you'll go read 1 Peter chapter 3, you'll find it in verses about 8 through 11 that the New Testament, in so many words, repeats this same wisdom that David gives his followers. Guard your words, guard your conduct, and guard how you treat others. And if you'll do those things, he says you'll have a long, happy life. Let's try to do that today. I believe that would be a good example and a good witness for Christians. I think that would go a long way towards telling people and showing people that our life is different because of Jesus Christ if we practice those three things. All right, have a great day.